moment to introduce Protect to those of you who may not already be familiar with us. Protect Services Group is a technology services firm with 29 years of experience focused on understanding the technology needs of businesses and applying a range of innovative solutions designed to help drive them forward. With a wide range of services, some of our areas of expertise include managed services, ranging from fully outsourced IT operations to custom services designed to meet specific customer needs. Cloud solutions, from infrastructure as a service from large public cloud providers such as Amazon Web Services and Azure, to enterprise cloud and a variety of software as a service solutions. Security solutions, including our managed security stack, utilizing a layered approach to protecting IT and data assets, security assessments, compliance SIM and SOC services, and security awareness training and testing. Carrier and voice services, providing consultative analysis and cost optimization for internet and telecom services, premise-based phone services, and cloud-hosted voice and call center solutions. Technology and consulting services, which range from small to large-scale IT projects to consultative engagements in any of our areas of expertise. Talent acquisition, with a full-featured staffing division, we are able to assist with temporary and permanent placement of resources with talents ranging from IT and finance to the executive level. Lastly, Protect prides itself in being an integral part of the community through its Protect Cares initiatives, supporting organizations like Boys and Girls Clubs of Memphis, Streets Ministries, St. Jude, and the National Civil Rights Museum, to name a few. It's within our core values to be a true technology partner and help organizations leverage technology to achieve profitability, growth, and security. So today, we're excited to have our own business technology consultant, Chris Yancey, with us to discuss navigating changing requirements for cyber insurance. Chris?
Thank you, Chris. So like Chris just said, we're here today to talk about cyber insurance and how some of those requirements have changed over the last couple of years. So it really doesn't matter what type of industry that you are representing today, whether you're in healthcare, technology, manufacturing, large business, small business, all of these industries has some type of cyber risk that's out there waiting for them. And so almost every day now we learn about yet another cybersecurity incident in the news. So the good news is that yes, the cyber risk that we face is insurable. But today we want to look at how some of those requirements to obtain that coverage has changed over the years. So thank you all for taking the time to be here with us today. We want to make sure that this is informative and as current as possible. All of these things that we're going to talk about today don't apply to every situation that you're going to find out there with insurance carriers and different policies that you'll see. But we do think this gives you a good foundation of some of the requirements that you'll see, that you'll encounter when it comes to looking at policies, not only renewing policies, but also when you go to get new policies as well. Again, my name is Chris Yancey. I am the Security and Solutions Advisor for Protect Services Group. We handle a lot, but my area of expertise with Protect is going to be security awareness training, managed phishing services, anything that's Office 365 related. I can come in, handle those training needs for your end users and your employees. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you've got phone systems that you need training on for your employees. All of that is within my umbrella, and so I can handle all those needs for you. But we want to spend some time today talking about cyber insurance and how those requirements have changed over the years. So regardless of what business you're in, like I said earlier, you probably have someone's private, sensitive information in your possession. For a business, that data is a major source of potential danger and financial ruin if it's not protected properly. So you want to make sure that data that you've got in your vault, in your servers, is protected and it doesn't get out in the open. If your network comes under attack from hackers and you become the victim of a data breach or ransomware, it could cause damage to your hardware, to your software systems, which is going to lead to costly repairs and also downtime of your business. It could also lead to the theft of data, which could ultimately end up on the dark web for sale. In either case, both situations are going to lead to not only damaging your reputation and your relationships, and causing a PR crisis to your business, but it's also going to lead to a loss of a windfall of money, which is ultimately going to cripple any small business, any of the small to medium businesses that are out here in the Mid-South area. So you want to make sure you're doing everything that you possibly can to make sure that your data is as safe and secure as possible. Over the last year, there was a growth of multi-extortion attacks where cyber criminals not only encrypt an organization's data and hold it for ransom, but they also copy and threaten to release it to the public. And so they're raising the stakes. And in doing so, they can request double the ransom if they want for unlocking and then deletion of the information. All the while, you know, they're going to get paid either way. So even though they're going to get paid, they could just release the data anyway. And so unfortunately, as a result, ransomware attacks are becoming more difficult to predict and more expensive to recover from. Recent cybersecurity incidents and ransomware attacks are driving companies to apply for cyber insurance. And when doing so, companies have been facing a slew of new prerequisites in order to become eligible. One of the major ones being multi-factor authentication, protection of your assets. So when people go to apply for coverage for cyber insurance, one of the main things that's been out there has been multi-factor authentication. And as you know, I'm pretty sure we all know what MFA is, but as you know, multi-factor authentication is a cybersecurity measure that basically requires its users to confirm multiple factors, verifying their identity prior to accessing that network or system. So generally, users will provide a password, verify access by inputting a code sent to them to another device, or they'll confirm access with a token or biometric data such as a fingerprint. So MFA should be used to protect remote network and email access as well as administrative access. So this prevents intruders from breaching networks to deploy ransomware, erase valuable data, or steal sensitive information for malicious purposes through a variety of cyber attacks, such as phishing, key logging, things of this nature. So ransomware and social engineering attacks are going to occur about once every 14 seconds. These claims can cost about hundreds of thousands of dollars and require, pricey investigation and remediation tactics that can take several weeks to complete. These attacks often start with compromised passwords or login IDs. The credentials really can be the weakest part of your company's, digital footprint, because a lot of times employees often will use the same password for multiple systems. They'll create passwords that are too simple. They'll share their credentials with other people, coworkers. They'll write them down, and oftentimes they just inadvertently give information to cyber criminals, through phishing or hacking attempts. So MFA is going to protect your business by adding that layer of security that'll block that attack from stemming, that stems from a compromised account. For example, a phishing attack may obtain an employee's username and password, but be unable to provide the fingerprint or security question response required for that second layer of authentication. So obviously, this is why MFA is such a needed requirement for insurance companies, because of the protection that it's going to provide. But it doesn't just stop with multi-factor authentication. Applying for cyber insurance used to be a really, really straightforward process. Do you have a firewall in place? Do you have a VPN? Do you have two-factor? Because of the recent increase in hacks, cybersecurity insurance is a lot more expensive. There's there's more exclusions. It's a lot more difficult to obtain nowadays. An example of some of the cybersecurity countermeasures that most insurance companies now require, in addition to multi-factor, are going to be things like, making sure that you've got tested and secured backups that are offline. Offsite is great too, but they really need to be offline and air-gapped. In other words, they can't be physically connected to your network, because if your company gets hit with ransomware and all your backups are still connected, then they too are going to become infected, and then you don't have a backup system anymore, which kind of defeats that purpose. So one of the things that a lot of insurance companies are going to want, in addition to two-factor or multi-factor, is the addition of offline backup systems. Another thing is patch management. So staying up to date with patches, not only for the operating system itself, but for your applications. So when those updates and those patches are released, make sure that you've got a good patch management system in place and you're updating those systems as much as you possibly can. Also, filtered email and web content. Most people are already doing this, at least I hope they are, but that involves spam filters, phishing filters, stripping out dangerous viruses and web links, blocking malicious sites. Again, more than likely, this is something that you're already doing, but now it is a stringent requirement for these insurance companies in order to provide you coverage with cybersecurity insurance. Having a protected network or siloing your network, having a dedicated management network for infrastructure, keeping things separate so that way if you get, compromised by a site, or one of those silos gets compromised, you've got a fighting chance of limiting the damage by isolating that silo really quickly, which is difficult to do if you haven't set that infrastructure, up in place to begin with, which is why some insurance carriers make it a stringent requirement. Secured endpoints is another one. So again, staying up to date with patches, having antivirus, making sure that you're not running an unsupported OS. So, heaven forbid, no one's running XP or, even Windows 7. So, making sure that you're on an OS that's up to date and current. Logged and monitored networks. So using a SIM or security information event management or a proper syslog archiving would help. So making sure that those monitored networks are being logged. End user training is a huge one, super important, and that's actually something that I personally administer to our clients here at ProTech. Not only do I handle all of the annual and semi-annual training sessions for organizations, I do it in-house for ProTech as well, but I also do small bite-sized training pieces in the form of managed phishing tests on a monthly basis with some of our clients. And also, we release Tech Bite series videos on our YouTube channel as well. So any type of end user training that your users are going to get, because again, those are the people that are on the front line, and those are the ones that are allowing these compromised, accounts to get out in the open by voluntarily giving that username and password over to a hacker, or they're clicking on links within their email, downloading attachments they shouldn't download. So again, that education piece is going to go a long way, thereby kind of limiting that where these threats are going to go or how far they'll get into your system. Managing your vulnerabilities, doing a vulnerability scan, doing some penetration testing to make sure that all of your stuff is not susceptible to a hack. Possibly consider hardening your devices through any number of ways, like a web application firewall, or not allowing unnecessary ports. So make sure that you're scanning for vulnerabilities and threats in your system to try to find those weak links. And then an up-to-date incident response plan and a business continuity plan. So that way, if you do get compromised, you and your company know exactly how to respond. So not everyone is going to require all of these requirements. And this is by no means a full and comprehensive list. You may find that some insurance companies ask for a lot more than this. Some may not ask for as many of these. So, but this should give you a good idea or a good, ballpark as far as the requirements that insurance companies are now asking for, and that can go a lot further than just simply making sure that you have two-factor authentication enabled, or do you have a VPN? So if you find that your company is lacking in any of these areas, please reach out, let us know, and ProTech can assist with any of these changes that you need in your organization. So even before the pandemic, cyber insurers were already tightening their underwriting guidelines. and asking for more details to better understand the risk that they were insuring. Whether it's, details on backup procedures or questions on specific security controls in place, companies are looking for companies looking for cyber insurance in 2021 can really expect a lot more rigorous underwriting process than they have in the past. Because after the pandemic hit, entire workforces migrated from, working in an office where cybersecurity was a lot more controlled to a work from home model. So this presented an even bigger challenge. Cyber criminals took advantage of that. They're taking advantage of the new security and human vulnerabilities. The major challenges included, bandwidth and unsecure connectivity, employee access issues, phishing, social engineering, and just, human cyber risks, all of which caused insurers to place even more stringent requirements into place. So whereas, pre-COVID, these requirements were starting to ramp up a little bit more because of the risks that a lot of these insurance companies were taking on. The fact that COVID hit and then we moved to a work from home model, a lot of employers weren't really taking the necessary steps to put safeguards in place. Employees using personal devices at home, the lack of using a VPN, all of these things really caused insurance companies to say, hey, we need to put even more stringent policies in place. So keep in mind that not all cyber insurance policies are created equal. And the pandemic has highlighted a few areas of concern. Companies that are insured are often advised to look at key definitions within their insurance policy, like, quote unquote, computer system. We want to make sure that ensures that employees working from home on a personal computer are covered as well. So you really want to make sure you go through that policy with a fine-tooth comb, get some clarification on some of these definitions and terms from your insurance policy, because you really want to get some clarity as far as your coverage and what you're covered on. Some potential exclusions could include voluntary shutdowns and personal network outages, such as when the employee loses internet access at home or has a slower connection than what's available to them at the office. So we want to talk a little bit about what cyber insurance covers. We talked about some of those stringent requirements, how they're ramped up, how they're asking for a lot more nowadays. But, if you do meet those requirements, what exactly are you covering? How are you covered? So every company faces a cyber risk, no matter the size. But the bigger you are, the more areas of vulnerability you have. So the most prominent cyber risks are privacy risk, security risk, and operational risk. Generally, cyber insurance is designed to protect your company from these primary risks. And although these may differ based on the insurance carrier, I do want to highlight the 5 distinct insuring agreements. And that's going to be network security, privacy liability, network business interruption, media liability, and then also E&O, errors and omissions. So first, with network security, a network security coverage grant is important for most companies, including those subject to information risk and privacy risk. This aspect of cyber insurance covers your business in the event of network security failure, which can include a data breach, malware infection, cyber extortion demand, ransomware, or even business email compromise scams. So network security coverage includes first-party costs, expenses that you incur directly as a result of the cyber incident. So that's going to include things like this: legal expenses, IT forensics, negotiation, data restoration, breach notification to consumers, setting up a call center, public relations expertise, and also credit monitoring or identity restoration. So those expenses that you're going to incur are going to be covered by this network security agreement. Privacy liability is another. That coverage is also important for most companies, particularly those with information risk or privacy risk. Customer and employee information can be sensitive, and breaches or violations that expose data not only threaten the security of those compromised, but they also expose your business to liability. Privacy liability coverage protects your company from those liabilities arising out of a cyber incident or a privacy law violation. These third-party costs can arise, for example, from liabilities required in a contractual obligation, all the way to regulatory investigations by governments and even law enforcement. Network business interruption. Ask yourself this question as far as your business is concerned. How dependent is your organization on technology to operate? My guess is it's probably very dependent on it. So network business interruption coverage provides a solution for companies that face an operational cyber risk. When your network or the network of your provider that you rely on to operate goes down due to an incident, you can recover lost profits, fixed expenses, and extra costs incurred during the time your business was impacted. This includes, loss arising from security failures like a third-party hack, or even system failure such as a failed software patch or even human error. Media liability. This provides coverage for intellectual property infringement resulting from the advertising of your services. So this is going to apply to your online advertising, including social media posts, as well as printed advertising. And then finally, we've got E&O, errors and omissions. A cyber event could keep you from fulfilling your contractual obligations and delivering services to your customers. So E&O covers claims arising from errors in the performance of or failure to perform your services. So this can include technology services like software and consulting. E&O coverage addresses allegations of negligence or breach of contract should this occur. And it also can include legal defense costs and indemnification resulting from a lawsuit or a dispute with your customers. So those were the 5 agreements that I wanted to highlight. But please know that you may see different types depending on your insurance carrier or the type of insurance, cyber insurance policy that you decide to go with. So in the landscape of obtaining cybersecurity insurance, even though that's changed somewhat, it's not as cut and dry or straightforward as it used to be. Recently, businesses have been facing new requirements to become eligible. I would think the pandemic and the shift of many businesses to a work from home model had a large part to play in that. Many companies that already have cyber insurance are having to comply with these new requirements for renewal, and not just new customers as well. So please keep all of those new requirements in mind, and also remember that all these policies are not the same. Some may require you more than what you see here listed, whereas others may require less. All right. Again, I want to thank you for your attendance today. I wanted to remind you that October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and that ProTech will have a lot of new content coming your way in the form of other webinars. We've got new videos coming out, different podcasts surrounding a lot of topics around cybersecurity. So please be on the lookout for that in the month of October. And since we've talked about MFA or multi-factor authentication today, I do want to touch on the fact that the next webinar we're going to have will be partnered with Cisco as we learn how Cisco Duo can help protect your organization from a cyber attack. So cybersecurity expert Kevin Switzer will be our guest speaker, and each attendee will be entered into a raffle to win a new Apple Watch Series 6. So please be on the lookout for that. So I believe Oakley is going to include the link to that webinar in the chat. So if this interests you, please sign up for that event. We'd love to have you. At this time, I'm going to turn it back over to our CIO and Senior VP, Chris Bradley. Thank you all.
Thanks, Chris. And thanks, everyone, for joining us today for the presentation. If you have questions or things concerning this topic or any other topic that we can help with, please feel free to reach out to us at the contact information you see on the screen here. We hope you found this information beneficial, and we hope to see you again on our next webinar. Thanks so much, and have a great afternoon.